We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. Get off his fucking neck. The man makes you know he can't fucking breathe. The man makes you know we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest episode of I'm No Joe, your home for all things combat sports and the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. The views and opinions presented on the I'm No Joe channel belong solely to the person expressing them, no one else. If we say it, that means we meant it. That being said, this show does contain adult themes, adult content, and general shit that you shouldn't be letting your kids intake. Be advised, viewer discretion is recommended. Proceed at your own risk. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, you're tuned in to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheelin' dealin', jet flying, limousine riding, woo, best podcast about punch-kicky of all time, and I'm having a real hard time keeping this peak Grand Prix final round one match down. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of the appropriate age, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, we have got a glorious panel full of folks here ready to get into all the latest punchy-kicky goodness, the shit-talking and shenaniganry you need to get your weekend complete. Before we get into all that goodness, though, gentlemen, how are you doing this fine punchy-kicky evening?
Doing pretty fucking good. Excited for this fight. Hope it happens. excited and terrified. I hope you guys are doing great.
I am severely bringing the quality of your MMA podcast down.
I don't know if that's possible, but
I'm just letting you know right now.
We pride ourselves on scraping the bottom, so all you can do is bring it up from here, brother.
No, see, you finally hit the bottom and you found Fresh 03. Scraped him off like a barnacle and trying to serve him up to the crowd. Nobody's buying it, by the way. Nobody's going to eat that barnacle.
You'd be surprised.
I'm excited. Final rounds tonight. And dude, do we have fuckery afoot in just today alone? And man, it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend, if this weekend plays out.
I was gonna say it's gonna be at this point. It's if, yeah, not how, but it's if, yeah, no. First and foremost, if you haven't seen the fucking craziness that went off in what was supposed to be the UFC 279 press conference this afternoon, I encourage you, once we're done here this evening, take 5 minutes and go watch some of the videos and the comments and the posts that have come out about that. That being said, before we actually get into shit talking and kicky punchy and shenaniganry and whatnot, R.I.P. Lizzie. The longest reigning queen England has had, unfortunately passed away this morning. Long may she reign, as it were. Condolences to everyone who that affects. That being said, fuck that serious bullshit. We've got shit talking and shenanigans to get into.
Here, I was going to say something nice about her. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So, as we like to do,
I forgot what show I was on. All right.
We're going to jump right into some news and recent events here. If you guys did miss any of the fun that kicked off, we do a recap show on Sundays to help you on all of the shit talking we do here on the podcast get held accountable. That being said, last minute fuckery seems to be the season of the week. The first thing that I'm going to talk about real quick, on 3 days notice, like I say all the fucking time, regardless of how you feel about a person, credit where credit is due. On 3 fucking days notice, ChimaevVsSigala has stepped up to take on Britton Hart in BKFC Montana 2 at 115 pounds. Not only was she not in fight camp, this is a weight class below where she normally fights. So on 3 fucking days notice, she is stepping in and stepping down a weight class and challenging for the fucking belt. Now, the whole fucking belt situation itself is a bit of a sham unto itself. That being said, 3 days notice to step up for a title fight, a weight class down. I still tip my fucking cap to you, ma'am. I think that will be probably the singular interesting moment of that card in Montana this evening, but still, tip of the cap, I say.
I wonder if she's got a short notice appointment with plastic surgeon to get those fake titties removed to make weight.
Something's gonna have to go, and there ain't a lot else.
Yeah, no, because she's a pretty skinny gal. So I'm saying you got to find a way to lose that weight real quick, fast, and in a hurry somehow.
Couple cc's of silicone coming out, and a couple pounds get dropped. Championship weight. Oh no, it's gonna get interesting for damn sure. But then moving along to next weekend, unfortunately, speaking of bad things happening, we got word just yesterday that unfortunately next weekend's co-main event for the UFC event is officially off. Giga Chikadze has been pulled from the fight. Still no official word on what actually caused him to get pulled, but he is not in any way, shape, or form going to be there. He is officially confirmed he is out. They are currently looking for a replacement for Super Sadiq, but with everything that went on today, matchmaking, I feel, is going to be a little bit tricky for the next couple of days. So we'll have to see how that one shakes loose again. The October 15th card before Abu Dhabi card has now officially got its main event announced. Alexa Grasso versus Viviane Araújo. So another fight night getting another set of ladies headlining it this year. Very interesting. I'm all for it. I just wish it were a better fight. But that being said, still going to be interesting to tune into and see how that one shakes loose.
Well, that could turn out interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
How do I phrase this one? Per commission of sponsored censorship, we have gotten confirmation that Anderson Silva has officially been issued a boxing license in the state of Arizona for an event to be held on October 29th. That's all we'll say about that story per commission censoring.
I mean, there's a chance we'll finally get to see that dude knocked out. That's
We're hoping.
one thing I'm kind of hoping for.
Everything on my body is twisted like a fucking pretzel for it. Don't you fucking worry.
Then he can finally begin that career in the WWE. He's been longing
Right?
for.
That's I'm just trying to help it get sped along. That's all I want. I want to help that
Yeah.
career get sped along. It's out of caring. But
To be fair, he did put on a hell of a show while he was there. All I'll
it could
say.
be very interesting for
I guess,
sure.
I guess I'll stop talking about that dude.
Excuse me. That being said, we got confirmation yesterday, October 21st, literally the Friday before UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi, will be ONE FC on Prime Video 3, headlined by Rainer de Ryder and Shamil Abdulev. Shamil Abdulev, fucking crazy names. And John Lineker taking on Fabricio Andrade, double title events on that ONE FC on Prime. So they're definitely taking advantage of their ability to get in front of the American markets and show them what title fights can fucking do. DJ definitely set that fucking bar pretty fucking high, but they seem to be bringing it with all the fucking big guns to put these fucking cards on properly. And considering they're the only organization that's been able to get a big fucking card set, and now they're going for their third, Prime might not be a bad place to put some of these pay-per-view-esque cards like this. I'm with it, man. I'm pretty cool with it. And then the card coming back from Abu Dhabi to the States, the November 5th card for the UFC, has had a move from the Abu Dhabi card itself onto that card. Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos has officially been moved off of Abu Dhabi. So we have reached that point where they're now officially taking fights off of the 280 card and moving them to other cards to be dispersed. So we said from the get-go, they way overstacked that fucking card. And now it seems like they've finally realized that they might have put a little too much sugar in the fucking Kool-Aid, and it's time to try and bail a little bit out before it gets completely fucking ruined. We'll see how that works, but you know, not the worst fight they could have pulled off that card, I will say. Following that, the next week, UFC 281 and MSG, November 12th, officially confirmed this week. Pen has been put to paper on both sides. It is no longer just a rumor. Michael Chandler versus Dustin Poirier is officially fucking happening in New York.
All right.
That definitely, in my opinion, will compete with Spotlight for Izzy versus Alex, but holy shit, they're not fucking around with 281 either, apparently.
I mean, when you can finally play New York, you got to bring it every time you show up. So
yeah, no shit. And that's one that we've definitely heard rumors about several times recently, but we're waiting and hoping to see pen put to paper. It officially has been now. That being said, the other half of the Smash Brothers, despite not being able to fight this weekend, does have himself a matchup on the very last UFC pay-per-view of the year, UFC 282, December 10th. Darren Till will step back into the octagon, taking on Dricus Duplessis. And I think that is a very interesting fucking matchup.
That is happy birthday to fucking TJ weekend. That's what that is. To say,
we were waiting to see what they were going to give you for your birthday this year. There
dude,
you go.
That Duplessis, that motherfucker, for some odd reason, does not seem to get tired, and he swings for the fences every goddamn throw. And you got Darren Till, who's been training with Hamzat for fucking, 2 straight years now, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
Dude, if he does, that's going to be a fucking banger of a fight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fucking spectacular of a matchup. We got a bit of an interesting one here this week. in one of the crazy Russian mixed martial art federation organizational compounds that they hold in the now again almost current Soviet Republic, but not quite. A gentleman by the name of Zuluzinho that some of you may or may not know about. Basically, a melanin enhanced version of Butterbean in the MMA world, if you will. About 475 pounds, but fights like a light heavyweight. Kind of disturbing how quick and agile this motherfucker is. Fighting in one of those weird organizations that just so happens to have strange rule sets. Like if a fight takes place on the ground for more than 60 seconds, regardless of what is happening, it's to immediately be stood up. Well, Zuluzinho this past weekend was in a match where he was on top of a gentleman, had the Americana locked in and was beginning to stretch the gentleman's arm, but it hit that 60-second mark and the referee fucking stopped them and stood the fight up. When they stand the fight up, the gentleman he's fighting lands a fucking ferocious head kick and Zuluzinho face plants completely out fucking cold in a fight that he was literally less than one individual clock tick away from winning. But rules is rules. We got confirmation this week from the man himself. Not only is he okay, first and foremost, but B, not the least bit upset with how that played out because he understands the rule set. He's a little disappointed that they actually enforced that rule set since he said some other matches earlier on in that card went way beyond a minute and didn't get stood up. But, you know, rules is rules. And the most important part, I would think, this has not in the least bit discouraged him from going at it. He actually has another fight booked in Poland for September 25th at the end of this month and is on track to go ahead with it. So some people just can't be fucking stopped. And luckily for Zuluzinho, he's not at that Bigfoot Nogueira status yet, but man, if he's not on his way, like it's coming pretty fucking close. He's a big dude and he's a bad motherfucker, but there's only so many times you can get fucking face planted. I don't care who you are. And then stuff just doesn't cross wires properly anymore. And nobody wants to see that. So,
I mean, all it really takes is one good one. So that's why that shit's so fucking dangerous. And I mean, almost every time that I've been on this show, we've talked about the fact that you have to look out for the safety of your fighters. I mean, that's your bread and butter, especially someone who could be a draw like that. Right. You have to look at, I mean, this dude could never be the same again, just from one head kick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, I applaud him for going ahead.
That's what I said. I'm like, man,
you're a brave motherfucker.
Yeah, definition of tough son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them dudes out there, a lot of them tough sons of bitches out there, but fuck, man. A month after taking a vicious KO, like,
right,
just ain't right, man. Oof.
But in the vein of folks who have taken a couple of vicious KOs over recent times, we got confirmation this week of another interesting one that I did not think we would see at least play out the way that it did. We got official confirmation as of this afternoon that Thiago Santos has officially parted ways with the UFC and signed with the PFL for the 2023 upcoming regular competitive season.
Interesting.
Coming off of the heels of Shane Burgos accidentally getting let go free agent and finding his way over to the PFL, this kind of makes it look like they might genuinely have serious money to start making legitimate offers at some of the bigger names from the UFC, because the UFC only has to match any offer that's put out to them. If these guys start getting deep enough pockets, they can make that get real interesting real quick.
Well, and the way it's going with two legitimately bigger names in the UFC going over there now in the last 3 months, that says there's some money over there to be had, not to mention their $1 million payday every year for each weight
every
class.
division every year. Yeah.
So there's some money to be had over there. And obviously, it's being thrown around. So otherwise, those guys wouldn't go there. They'd go to other
Right.
organizations that will throw the money, because I'm sure Thiago would have had no problem getting a contract in Bellator. No problem at fucking all.
Tiago had been around with the UFC long enough. I'm pretty sure he and Scott Coker were acquainted. So I'm pretty sure at this point, if he would have went free agent and just made the call to Bellator, they would have had no problem picking him up either.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think just based on what we've seen of Santos as of late, again, he's not completely washed by any stretch of the imagination. He's just not going to get back into that title picture anytime soon because of the breed of killers that are there now since he's left that picture originally. But you look at that same picture over in the PFL, he might be a serious fucking contender over there. He might be giving some of those boys a real fucking concern right now, looking at their schedule.
That might be what he needs to re-kickstart his fucking engine.
Exactly.
To say, okay, I'm ready to come back to the UFC and whip some legitimate ass then.
You got a new baby, you got a new house, you got a new contract with a new organization now. I'm curious to see if we're going to see a new Mojeta or if we're just going to see what's left of Santos kicking punches way through mediocrity and hope for $1 million. I hope we see him do fucking great, but at this point, time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of time will tell, we officially got word this afternoon. Alessio Di Chirico, upon getting his ass handed to him properly in Paris, has officially retired from MMA. He leaves the UFC and MMA with a record of 4-7 and more fame from his post-fight interviews than his in-ring post-fights. But again, this is one of those situations where this gentleman has decided that he's going to ride off in the sunset while he is still able to form complete sentences. And for that, we cannot really be mad about it. So although it was minor, thank you, Alessio Di Chirico, for your contribution to MMA as a whole. That being said, we got confirmation this week that Nate Diaz has officially applied for a promoter's license for the Real Fight Incorporated Fight League. He's been teasing it. He's been hinting at it. It is now official. It has a name, Real Fight Incorporated. The plan post UFC has been laid out. Win, lose, or draw, Diaz has got a game plan. So nice to see. This one's a little touchy. If you guys know the story of Chris Barnett, Huggy Bear, Beast Boy, he's a favorite of the show for damn sure. We got a little bit deeper of a look into his story this week. I posted the link in the Discord. If you would like to read about it, I encourage you to take 5 minutes. The story was on bjpen.com. I'm not going to go into it because it's kind of personal and I don't want to get that dark onto the show right now, but Chris Barnett is a fucking G, and I hope he kicks ass and takes names this weekend. I'll leave it at that. The last thing I do want to talk about in the news segment this week, we've got Johnny Walker coming up in a fight this weekend. We got news earlier this week for something a little bit outside of the fight realm. Turns out that Johnny Walker is a fucking idiot, more so than I could have ever possibly thought that he was. For the last 3 years, he has basically bounced around endorsements from several different CBD companies and openly bragged about how great it does for him, how much he enjoys it, and at the same time turned around and said that he felt like he was drugging himself, like he was zombifying himself, despite the fact that it was just CBD that he was taking. And then he came to find out that even pure CBD has a small amount of THC in it, and that he had been zombifying himself on drugs for the last 3 years, and that the person we will see this weekend and going forward will be nothing like the Johnny Walker we have ever seen before, because he's clear of that demon THC. Fuck you, Johnny.
I'm not sure how you could call him an idiot for speaking the truth. The demon THC.
That's not the point. That's not what we're talking
Oh,
about. We're pro Satan's jazz cabbage around here. No. Realistically, though,
Listen.
we are very, very pro cannabis around here. And the fact that Johnny Walker, admitted that he had been taking a supplement for 4 years without bothering one fucking time to look at the ingredient list of said supplement says a lot to me. The fact that he thinks 0.03% THC by volume in 3 years worth of CBD consumption would have quote unquote drugged him into a constant zombie like state shows me that he's too lazy to just do any kind of research into what was actually going on.
So Johnny Walker didn't realize that CBD stands for cannabinoid.
Yes. He literally did not read the label of a supplement that he took for 3 years.
It'll be really nice.
That's how you wind up on those hot piss tests.
He can't say that the weed was the thing that fucking drugged him or zombified him once he gets knocked out again this weekend. Wasn't CBD that made you a zombie. You're a shitty fighter.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me he must have taken CBD the second he won that fight and fell over and hurt his shoulder? That's exactly what zombified him.
That's probably why he fell over. It was the CBD kicking into his system and all that demon just hitting him.
Let me fuck my shoulder all up. Just done.
Yep.
CBD.
Well, I mean, thanks to Johnny Walker, I now know how to get through the zombie apocalypse. So I just take some CBD and I'll blend right in.
A couple drops. And then,
I mean, thank you, Johnny Walker. I mean, we got to look for the positives when someone runs their fucking mouth without ever taking half a thought on like what he's actually saying.
Right.
I mean, he did
like it says on every package of CBD, unless he's down in the corner buying them vitamin E acetate cards.
Right.
It says on every package of CBD. Cannabinoid.
You know, he did do a small group of people a huge favor here. Those are those doomsday preppers. They now know that they need to go and prep, buy a whole bunch of CBD and put it in their little fucking goddamn zombie apocalypse fucking safe rooms. So that way, when they need to finally go outside, they'll be ready.
Right up.
Exactly. When you go and just imagine how much more driven you're going to be by those fucking munchies. That's all I'm saying. Like,
I wouldn't be mad if they meme stonked CBD companies into oblivion and got, made them the new Bed Bath and Beyond stock. So. Oh, my brain went to a dark place there, but I won't jump to that joke that I was thinking of.
I mean, you should.
That being said, though, that's all the news and recent events I have got for this upcoming week. Looks like Mr. Golf Tee has got one here.
I have one because I think it is worth mentioning. I am a giant fan of the fucking Gypsy King. And he did do a little post today about how he offered Mr. Anthony Joshua, fucking a 60-40 split on a fight. That's a huge fucking number by him to do a 60-40.
For the champ to offer that?
Yeah. And he said it's a take it or leave it because he doesn't want to hear, well, I lowballed you at fucking 20%, 30%. So he went 60-40 with him saying, hey, that's a huge split because that's a lot of fucking money. Yeah. In the boxing world, especially with him being involved. I just thought it was worth mentioning news-wise because if Joshua don't take it, that just says he's a scared little bitch that was running his mouth for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
I mean, Floyd Money Mayweather would never offer a 60-40 split.
Fuck no, you'd be lucky if you can get fucking 20-70 from Floyd.
Yeah, I think the only person
I don't even think you'd be able to get that out on
itself that I didn't hear you touch on. So since I'm into the up-and-comers, contenders, and aspects like that, big news came out this week that I'm excited as fuck about. Brady Highstand's finally getting his fucking debut. November 19th, the week after Madison Square Garden. He's going to be fighting Fernie Garcia. I don't know who Fernie Garcia is, but Brady Highstand's making his UFC debut. I'm excited about that. The fact that came about official news this week. Felt like sharing that. Excited. I felt like he was better than Ricky Tercios, even though Ricky beat him in the Ultimate Fighter finale last year. He was fighting on a fucking torn ACL, similar to Francis Ngannou at the beginning of the year. So
It'll be
it'll be
good to see how he's
exciting to see.
improved.
Yeah, no, I didn't even see that Brady had got his official date. It's another one of those that I'd heard rumors that he's
Yeah,
getting
at
ready and they
first
were
I
trying to
saw
put
it
him on
on
the New
his
York
page.
card.
I follow him on Instagram, so I saw it on his shit first, and then looked into it. Saw it on a few websites. So yeah, it was confirmed. I still don't know who the dude he's fighting. I don't know who Fernie Garcia is. It might be his debut as well. But
and I'm betting that's probably what it is, because last I had heard from one of my peoples unofficially was that they were trying to get him booked for that UFC New York card because he's right there out of Philly with all those fucking boys. So that's essentially his fucking backyard as well. And that would have made for a nice fucking quote unquote home debut or home-ish debut for him. But apparently that didn't work out. But it's cool to see that they got him on that fucking week after card. So good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, that is what we've got for news and recent events this week. And as you know, if you follow the show, some of us are kind of fucking old school and we don't really keep up with the newer up and comer, the younger breed, as it were. Sometimes because we don't have time, sometimes because we fucking hate the Soup Can series. But either way it goes, luckily for us, we know some of those fellow kids who are into those young kicky punchies. We happen to have ourselves one right here on the show in a little thing we like to call Slows, Cans, and Contenders. So, brother, would you please enlighten us on some of these younger up-and-comer folks that we should be genuinely paying attention to?
all right, so I'll start us off on this Week 7 recap, what we saw this last Tuesday. Well, I was a little happier with it compared to the past couple weeks. Dana didn't hand out 5 contracts again. He gave out 4. Not much better. Not much better. Only I think 2 or 3 were deserved. Guaranteed 2. I think the third one, we'll get into it here, was slightly deserved, but he gave out 4 contracts, and we'll get into why. We will all know as to why. But we'll start out with the first fight of the night. We had Teresa Bleda. She came in as an undefeated fighter. Was a huge favorite in this fight. Impressive with the striking, the submission ability. Was excited to see what this chick had, and she just went out and had a boring fight. Definitely didn't show much of anything. Even Dana White said in the press conference after the fact, she is an impressive striker. I didn't see any striking in the fight. She's a huge favorite. She didn't act like she was a favorite. It didn't look like she was the favorite. So he didn't award her the contract. That was the one bit of this week I had some respect for, because like we've been talking about for weeks now, snubbing Carolina Wojcik weeks ago. And finally, I have a feeling it's like a shit chick fight and a chick that should have come out and had a great performance, and she doesn't. You've awarded these ladies contracts the past couple of weeks. Finally, he didn't do it again. It would have been the continuing upsetting conversation of what in the fuck, why didn't Wojcik get and we're still going to keep saying that for the rest of the season. Hopefully we see Carolina Wojcik later on down the road, and hopefully she just gets a shot without having to go on the Contender Series again next year. We'll move on to the second fight. Ismael Bonfim. There were 2 Bonfims on the Bonfim brothers. The 2 brothers fought on this same card. And I'm starting out with Ismael. He was the less exciting of the 2. The biggest reason I feel like Dana White signed this kid, I didn't necessarily think he deserved the contract. He did have a tough fight. I mean, he fought a tough guy. Both guys had like 30 professional fights between them and almost 20 amateur fights. These guys have fought a lot, and they're both only like 25 and 26. So they weren't up there in age. They're both really young, about my age, and they have fought almost 30 fucking professional fights apiece. They went out, they had a nice battle, but he got a decision win. He didn't show anything spectacular for somebody that has all that experience, even though he fought somebody with about the same level of experience. I just didn't know what you could take from it, right? But he got the contract because what his brother did. We'll get into that here in a minute. I just feel like it was the perfect thing. The Koss brothers were signed together, and they fought together on a Contender Series card before, and Dana signed both of the Koss brothers. So it was just that thing, kind of like the Diaz brothers, and just what happened with Muhammad Usman in the Ultimate Fighter, winning the Ultimate Fighter finale. He just wanted to keep that kind of shit going, and that's where I think he gave Ismail the contract. He definitely showed he's tough and he's got the experience, but didn't see anything special out of it. Then we had Carl Williams. This was the one that was somewhat on the fence about, just because Dana again admitted it with this week. The guy's like 32. He's not looking for 32-year-olds, and he gives this guy another contract. But he did, in my opinion, prove he deserved it somewhat. Carl Williams wasn't the original guy that was supposed to be fighting Jimmy Lawson. They fought at heavyweight. Carl Williams fights at lightweight. So he moved up a weight class, 10 days notice, a 2-to-1 dog, 30 pounds lighter than Jimmy Lawson, goes out there and fucking dominates his ass with the rest. He didn't do much else. He showed he's got great wrestling, and he was able to control the fight, hold him down. It was that good old classic boring aspect that you can't out wrestle me. Just held Jimmy Lawson down, didn't do much else with it. But he wound up getting the contract just for that fact. Dana's giving him a shot. He's telling him he's going to give him the full camp and see what he can do. Hopefully he lets him fight at light heavyweight, because he's not naturally a heavyweight, but he took out a heavyweight and dominated him in the wrestling. So it was somewhat of just that heart aspect. It felt good to see the guy get the shot. He seems like he's got a good personality and everything, but he didn't show anything spectacular other than the fact that he moved up a weight class, 10 days notice, huge weight difference, and dominated the heavyweight. It is impressive, but hopefully he can show something when he gets this shot in the UFC. So that was the first contract I feel like was deserved. And then we move on to the other Bonfim brother, Gabriel Bonfim. This was the absolute 100% contract that was deserved on this card. This guy got locked up in a guillotine choke in the first fucking round and somehow reverses it. Not just reverses it to a Von Flue choke to finish the fight in the first round. The first ever Von Flue choke finish on the Contender Series. Similar to what we saw just a month or so ago, right? When Corey McKenna becomes the first woman in UFC history to get a Von Flue choke finish. It was exciting as fuck, especially now that I've been training, getting in the fucking gym, and starting to learn more with the jiu-jitsu. That was awesome to see it. Like when me and Vincent saw it, it blew our fucking minds away. And then the announcers like EC, they're counting, oh my God, he got the Von Flue. Like, it was
he looked like he was in serious fucking trouble. That shit was locked in real fucking deep. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah, it was impressive just that he got out of the guillotine and then he reversed that immediately.
Yeah, he was in serious trouble from that guillotine right away.
Like, this was the one I definitely wanted to talk to you guys about. I didn't know if you guys had seen the clip or whatnot, because I'm sure you guys didn't watch on Tuesday night. But that finish was definitely something fucking beautiful to see.
Yeah, the way that he reversed that, like I was kind of impressed more in the reversal than the Von Flue, because in getting out of the guillotine, he locked that fucking Von Flue right across that motherfucker's throat, and he never saw it coming. Like, he slid it very sneaky. It was the getting out of the guillotine itself that impressed me more, though. That was fucking smooth, because he looked like he was fucked there. There was a oh shit moment.
All right, so then to finish off this last week's recap, we had Vitor Petrino. He came out. He was I think the underdog in this fight against Bellato, and in round 2, he wound up putting him out after like a crazy back and forth fight, 8.5 fucking minutes. I wound up picking Bellato, and I was wrong. It was an exciting fight, but Bellato was just not the better fighter from the start, even though he was the favorite. So for this guy, as a light heavyweight, to come out and have the decent showing, it was one of the more exciting fights of the night. So the co-main event, main event, were the most exciting moments, exciting finishes. deserved contracts, and then Carl Williams. It just, it was like that feel good moment. So I feel like 3 deserved it, but the Ismail Bonfim got it to give us 4 contracts on the night just because of the brother combination. He did show toughness. He's got a lot of experience with what his fucking brother did. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that gives a pass, but it's just a little less the sour taste in the mouth to hand out the handful of contracts this week. Going into the week 8 here, we have a few decent matchups. The first matchup on the card, we've got a kid that's 5-0. Well, I say kid, but his age. There's been a lot of these lately in contender series. The unknown age. You look into them, and their age is kind of being undisclosed coming into these fights. So Malik Lewis is 5-0, and he's got finishes in every one of his fights. He's 4-0 in his amateur fights too, and he finished pretty much all of those. So he's never lost a fight, amateur or pro. He's fighting Trevor Peak. Trevor Peak's 27, so I know his age. He's 6-0 as well, finishes in every one of the fights. So this is just interesting to me. This first fight of the night. These guys have never really lost their amateur or professional careers. They have finishes in every one of their fights. You can see an exciting finish with the first fight of the night. We get another ladies' fight. As exciting as that may be, I don't know. The ladies haven't turned out very well this year, and then I'm still upset about the Carolina Wojcik thing. Probably that won't change. But we've got a 7-2-1 lady that's 25, Bruna Brazil. There's nothing too special, really, seemingly about it. She's got a few finishes in her career, but only 1 first-round finish. So 2 submissions, 2 technical knockouts, 1 first-round finish. Just nothing too fantastic. The record's not even that great, right? It's 7-2-1. It'd be nicer if she was just like coming in at 7-0. The fact that you've lost a couple and had a draw. She is young. The chick she's facing is 5-0 and another undisclosed age. So Marnik Mann, it's a weird name for this lady, and she's only got 1 submission finish, a knockout, and a decision, a couple technical knockouts. Her last fight, she won by split decision. Every other fight that she has had has ended in a finish. So she's got 5 professional fights. The last one was a split decision win, but then the other 4 finishes. Unknown age, potential. Maybe we can see a decent ladies fight this week. Try to hype it up a little bit and be optimistic. But it's definitely a weird thing these past couple of weeks having these contenders and the undisclosed ages and things like that. I think the main event will definitely prove to be exciting. Tough to pronounce this guy's name. Ikram Elixirov. He's 12-1 and he's 29 years old. He got a handful of first-round finishes, and his only real loss in the past handful of years, or in his professional career, right? He's 12-1. The man we're seeing this weekend, Khamzat Chimaev. So this guy, Ikram Elixirov, his only loss is to Khamzat in his professional career. That in itself piqued my interest this week. The guy's still young. He's got a decent record, and Khamzat's the only one to beat him. And the guy he's facing is 25, Mario Sousa. He's got 12 first-round finishes in his career. He's 15-2. So this guy's got a heck of a record. I mean, this is where this fight's a little more exciting than a lot of main events I think we've gotten so far in the Contender Series. Both of these guys have some decent fucking professional experience. 13 fights for Elixirov, and Sousa's got 17. And coming in with 12 first-round finishes. And his only big loss in the past few years was to Chidi Njokwani, another guy that's definitely looking good in the UFC. So, I mean, this, to me, is the fight on this week's card to definitely, if you guys have some time, if anybody watching or you guys yourself, just tune in for the main event. if anything, because this one I feel like it'd actually be worth watching. These guys have some fucking experience, and the fact that the past few years their only losses are to guys like Hamzat, Chidi, and Jaquani. There's some excitement coming into this one. So that'll finish her up for me this week, but I feel like we're going to get some more contenders coming into next week compared to some cans. So excitement.
Man, I always fucking cross my fingers for them fucking ladies fights, but like you said, man, I'm open about it. Like, I'm still a salty asshole about fucking Carolina Wocha getting fucking passed by. Like, that broad came in and beat the dog shit out of fucking black belt jiu-jitsu submission specialist that everyone thought was going to come in and just walk the fucking dog out of her. She beat the brakes off that bitch, and Dana said he didn't see anything interesting enough to give her a contract. But he's giving out fucking bullshit left and right lately. Like, come on, motherfucker. But
yeah, hopefully the ladies turn it out for us this week, and it's an exciting fight. If he gives one of them a contract, we can sit there and talk about it next week on Thursday and actually appreciate it and everything. And then the next couple weeks after this week, we got some excitement. That 17-year-old Ricardo Ramos getting his fucking shot. And then the week after that, to finish off the fucking season, you get Bo Nickel the second fucking time.
Back, baby. Yes, sir. Yeah, that and that main event, dude, having your only fucking loss on one side to beat a fucking Kamzat and your only loss on the other side to fucking Chidi and Jaquani. Like, those are decent fucking names to have your only fucking your O broken by.
Yeah, that's why I said if you guys get the chance, if you got some time, maybe tune into that one.
That's respectable stats on both fucking sides, I'd say. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So that being said, for those of you who may not be aware, first and foremost, this show is not sponsored or endorsed in any way, shape, or form by Tapology.com. That being said, they do offer a service that we here at the show take full advantage of every week we get the opportunity to, and that they offer you a chance to create a free account over there and then make your own predictions for all of the fights coming up for basically any fucking organization you can imagine. So we have created a group here for the I'm No Joe podcast. We call it ImNoBookie. It's all one word, or Group 965. However you need to find it. You are all more than welcome to join the group. We will get you right on in there. You can make your picks head to head with us straight up. And then during every UFC main card on that day of the event, during the main card, rather, words are hard live, we put right here on this I'm No Joe channel a live real-time updating stream of those Tapology picks against the background of some ear-pleasing Adam and Eddie and the Arson tunes to keep your ear holes happy. So that being said, we tend to have some interesting results around that, and with those we bring it to our segment we call Tapology with TJ.
So to start with, as he said, we're not endorsed nor paid by Tapology yet. One day we will work that avenue. One day. Before I get into this too deep, I need to check. Being as I was absent last week, did you guys cover the August 20th Tapology? No. Okay, so we're gonna start there. So that is 2 weeks ago.
We left it open for you because I figured you'd want to go off on that.
So to start with, I'm going to start all the way down at the fucking bottom of those results. Myself, I absolutely shit the bed on that card. Absolutely fucking terribly. I fucking came out, talked all that shit the previous week, tripped over my dick, and face planted clean into the fucking pavement. Wow. There's some other people that were laughing here that weren't too far ahead of me. Not by much. Like, it could have been a fight and that would have been the difference, and you could have been tripping over your dick. But no, got fucking Meter coming up in there right up ahead of me. And got Luke out there, who I know is watching. And who else do we have in here? Let's see. Looks like Christian. And then a father-son duo taking the top spots this week. In my neighbors being father and son. Riverboat Tour taking the number 2 spot, and ND Boone taking the number 1 spot for the August 20th card. Said tripped over my own dick that week. It happens. It's MMA. We make random picks. Shit doesn't always go our way. How that'll bring us into last week's card, which I was unavailable for to give you guys my thoughts on as far as odds and things like that. As we will cover this week's after I'm done with this. Now, I want to say last week I did fucking redeem myself because I was not at the bottom of this. But what I will say is our father-son duo, they fucking ghosted us last week. And I say ghosted loosely because I did get a prior to the fight starting, we forgot to put in our picks text. So Don, your son, this is for you guys. Get your shit together, goddammit. You can't take the top spots and then ghost the next week. You have to defend the title. That's how that works around here, goddammit. Now, somebody talking about tripping over their dicks there down at the bottom here. We got Tim over there. And right there with him, Christian, where were you at there last week? Oh, I was not much ahead of you at 480, so definitely redeemed myself.
I didn't go realistic last week, and I'm not going that way this week either. The past 2 weeks, it's just like rooting underdogs and choosing what I want to happen. And yeah, that's not what Marvin Vittori and Ty didn't fucking get it done like I wanted to get it done.
He's fallen into that trap that we talked about when we first started doing this Tapology, is that you have to be able to separate the show from the Tapology, because when you make your tips with Tapology, you got to go with facts, no feelings. And you can go all feelings, no facts here on the show. But if you want them stat numbers, you got to go facts, no feelings on Tapology. And sometimes it's just fucking hard.
You know, now this next one that I'm going to mention here, I don't know who is stealing from who, because as I was getting updates from the both of them, they were at fucking the same time. So I don't know who was cheating off of whose homework or what it was. But you got Meter and Luke out there fucking the exact same fucking score at 495 last week. Don't know how the fuck that happened. I don't get it. And apologize. I missed Christian's brother in here. He's X-Fire in here, right? Yeah, he was down at the bottom of the list this week. So he was below Tim, but not by much, only by 30 points. So your brother gets the trip over the dick award this week. So that's where we're at this week. Hopefully, last week's winners will come back and defend, because to be honest, we all shit the bed pretty bad here, and usually we're all around the 500-ish mark points. So she was a little rough this week. But that being said, with the fuckery that is afoot, these things are subject to change this week, as well as depending on what exactly took place behind the doors. Hopefully it didn't fuck up any fights. So what I'll do is I'm just going to pick a few random ones, because we did have to go through 2 weeks and I kind of want to speed this along. That way we can get into the important thing tonight here. So I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of the card. And we're going to start with the early prelims. I'm only going to take one fucking fight off of here, and that's going to be the Norma Dumont and Danielle Wolf fight. To be honest, I think the only way you can pick this is that they're giving Norma Dumont another fucking soup can to try to bolster her record in the featherweight area. You gotta pick her. It's gonna be a solid pick. They're gonna be a boring ass fight to watch other than that. There are two going on to the prelims that I did want to talk about, and not the ones that you would necessarily think. We're gonna start at the premier prelim though. Hakeem Dawodu and Julian Erosa. That is a solid fight in my opinion to watch, namely because Hakeem Dawodu, he is a fucking mean bastard. And all he wants to do is throw down. Now, Julian Erosa is not that fucking guy. He wants to be a little more slick with things. There's a reason why he's sitting as an underdog right now. I take Dawodu on this all day. He's coming in on a minus 225 and Julian Erosa a plus 190. So they've got a little bit of a coin flip, but I think Dawodu's got a better edge than that. If you're a betting man, it's coin flip, so it's 50-50. I would still take Dawodu on this side, even with a plus 190 Erosa. You're not going to make much money off of him. So
Julian Erosa's back in the UFC.
Yeah, it's fucking sad.
It's interesting. Yeah, I still think I still think I'd probably take money on Dawodu on that one. Though.
Does he still eat like 2 shots for every shot that he gets in?
Pretty much.
That's why I would take money on WHOO.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not the dude. WHOO is not the dude to fight like that. Well, I mean, it'll be fun to watch.
Now, the
All
other fight I want to talk about real quickly on this one here before I move on to the main card, because the main card there are more that I do want to cover, is one that is completely getting overlooked, and I'm not hearing any. Well, I won't say it's overlooked. It's just, in my opinion, the odds are really fucking bad in this one. They could have been a lot better, and that's the opening fight on the prelims. Jake Collier and Chris Beast Boy Barnett. They have Collier at a -410 favorite and Barnett at a +330, which in my opinion is a good bit fucking lopsided for Chris Barnett. We're talking, he's an explosive ass fucking heavyweight. Collier is not. Collier, he can take a beating, but he's nowhere near as explosive as fucking Barnett is. And I think those explosions that Barnett had are going to cause Collier a lot of fucking issues. So I think the odds are a little fucked here. To be honest, I could see this more of a 50-50 than the way that they have it right now. This is going to be my pick of the night for, if you're going to pick the low odd man for to make some money on, Chris Barnett is the fucking person to do it with. Jake Collier, no offense to him, but I really think Barnett can get this done and make you some money at a +330. So those are pretty good odds to make some decent money on him. And to be honest, I think he has better odds than what they're fucking giving him. So take those fucking odds and run before the fucking fight gets closer. It is not the worst fucking odds on the card, but it's one of the ones that I think are the most fucked. Now, moving into the main card, we're going to talk about I fell asleep at the wheel and Ian Kuntalaba first. Those guys coin flip that they have them at right now. However, with Johnny Walker falling asleep at the wheel, I would put money on Kuntalaba right now. So he's coming in at a -195 as a favorite anyways, and Johnny Walker at a 165. So you got that there. Coin flip it. Still take Kuntalaba all day. Where things get a little more interesting here is in this women's bantamweight bout that comes up next, which is Irene Aldana and Macy Chiasson. Chiasson she changed weight. She changed fucking weight classes. She's dropping weight to go down to fight Aldana at number 4. That's a huge opportunity, and they have this at a fucking coin flip. And I think the only reason that is because Chiasson is dropping weight, so she should be, in theory, the stronger of the two fighters as far as physicality is concerned. Rena Aldana can be slick from time to time, but they only have her as a -180 favorite over Macy Chiasson coming in at a +155. This is one where I would probably take the underdog as well, not because I think it's necessarily going to be that fight's going to win, but because I think she's got a pretty good chance being able to possibly outpower her through this, knowing that she's coming down a weight class. That brings us into what I will say, in my opinion, is going to be the most exciting fight of the fucking night in Kevin Holland and D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. That is a fucking barn-burning fight if I've ever seen one. Odds on this, I think, are right fucking on. You got a catch weight of 180 pounds, and you've got Kevin Holland coming in as a -200 favorite, and D-Rod coming in as a +170 underdog. So you look at that, and you go, that's a fucking coin flip. Literally, in my opinion, it's damn near as close to a coin flip as you can get with these two guys. And to be honest, everybody's, well, how's Kevin Holland going to do up a weight class? He's fought at 185. The fuck are you guys talking about? He doesn't have to cut weight for this. He might cut a pound or two, but he's eating fucking regular, doing his normal shit. D-Rod, on the other hand, he walks around fucking north of 200. Guaranteed. So I'm not saying that that's going to be the make-all, break-all, because he's been fighting at 185, and they're both exciting. This one, I'm not going to give you a pick, but you can always take the underdog, or you can take the over on this one and say Kevin Holland gets it. But I'm going to fight on the underdog on this one. Not that I necessarily think he's going to win, because Kevin Holland's a bad motherfucker, but so is Daniel Rodriguez. So who knows? Odds are about a 50-50 on that one as well. This next fight, what's funny, I have had a hard fucking time finding odds for this one. Not as hard as some other fights that I've had to look for in the past, which is the Li Jingliang and Tony Ferguson, El Kukui. This is a fucking, I love this fight. I love seeing Tony Ferguson say fuck it and come up to fucking welterweight, getting out of that 170 division and going after fucking Li Jingliang. That's a fucking hell of a fight, and credit where credit is due here to the Leech. The Leech is one of the few fighters that has actually given Tony El Kukui any sort of fucking props and respect, saying you have to respect the man for who he is and everything he's done already. You can't just write him off. And in my opinion, he's 100% fucking right on that. You cannot write him off whether you would like to or not. Because for some odd reason, people write him off very easily. And I think that has a lot to do with the way that we're seeing the odds rolling on this. It's going to be a tight pick on this one. If you go down this route, let's go this route with it. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting El Kukui because right now they have him as fucking the underdog on this. And it's not a big underdog, but it's enough to say, you know what? He's fucking crazy. He will go through fucking mountains of pain to keep fucking going. There's not a lot of fighters that will do that. They've been replaying it on a couple of the social media platforms where he got caught in that nasty ass fucking heel hook and did not tap, but you could see the fucking just pain face on him fighting through it. Gets out of it and keeps on going. And you got to give props to Tony Ferguson. He might be the guy to bet on here, but smart money goes to the Leech just because, to be honest, I'm in with that other crowd. I love El Kukui, but I don't think he's going to do well coming up a weight class there. I'm going to take the goddamn favorite all day long on this. I think the Leech gets it done. I think he's finally got himself back together and moving in the right direction again. So it's going to be a tough fucking task for El Kukui, but that's a hell of a co-main event, though. And that brings us into the most fucking lopsided of all of the odds for the entire fucking weekend. Hamzat and Nate Diaz. I have Hamzat coming in at a 1,100 fucking 50 favorite. Nate Diaz is a plus 750. The last time I've seen these kind of odds with Nate Diaz, I'm not surprised motherfucker happened. I'm just saying, there's strange fuckery afoot. Now, whether this fight goes on as planned with all of the fuckery that did happen, we will see. It didn't look like anybody was injured from what I could tell. But we will see at the weigh-ins tomorrow if everybody weighs in as planned and everybody does what they're supposed to as planned. But I can tell you what's going to happen. At the end of this fight, one of two things are going to happen. Either they're going to shake, call it a day, or we're going to see a fucking just all-out fucking brawl between the teams. Like, fucking possible Conor Khabib fucking levels. Because from what I understand what happened in the back, it was pretty much fucking that. So there's a good possibility. But and what's funny is those fuckers weren't even the ones who started it all. Would you believe if I told you it was the Black Superman, Kevin Holland? Not that guy. No, never. No, he just offered somebody to trim a beard. That's all. That's what he said. I'm just saying. But that caused a little small melee to ensue. So, but yeah, smart betting money is always on Hamzat here. I love Nate Diaz. I love what he's done for the sport. I know he's not going to go out easy. It's probably going to end up in a doctor stoppage, to be quite honest, because he'll end up getting cut or he's going to get fucking just choked out. One of the two, but he will not tap. He will not fucking quit. If you're trying to make some money, though, Diaz is good fucking money to throw 100 bones down on. If you lose 100 bones, so be it. That's an easy 750 if he wins. Just saying. So there's your odds. There's my thoughts. And we'll see what happens next week and who trips over their dick next week over in Tapology room.
Right.
A little prop bet that I for Diaz is submission plus 1,600. So you say you throw 100 bones down, and you win 1,600, baby. That's the one way. If Nate gets the finish right, he's gonna fucking sell him. He's gonna choke Hamzat out just like he did Connor.
He does have a legitimate black belt in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So
Yeah, so if you're feeling frisky, that's what I'd do a little prop bet on Nate getting the submission.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, where we take things and we get them to be a little bit less friendly and a little bit more competitive, if you will. This is the point that those folks who are only will learn that the audio folks don't get to keep an eye on and learn about. This is the point where things stop being friendly and we get into the pit. This is the point when things cease to be nice. Things get to be a little more interesting around here, if you know what I'm saying. And the competitive edge starts to come out when the Grand Prix is down to the final match. There's one man that can save this Grand Prix, and I think you know who that man is, brother. If you don't, you're gonna learn, because tonight, the Grand Prix finale match for round one is upon us, brother. If you ain't done your homework, it's too late now, because it's time for the pit. This, boys and girls, is the point where the nice, lighthearted show we normally come out with gets a little bit different. This, boys and girls, is where the cream rises to the top in the competition of the pit. Every time you think you can count us out, the cream rises up once again. Not to be outdone. This isn't just a competition. This is about being able to rise like the cream, Mean Teach. I'm here to tell you, no competitor has ever taken the pit so serious as we are taking this pit tonight. And much like that proverbial sweet cream, I will rise to the top once again.
all right. If you guys have not figured it out by now, I'm hosting the pit tonight. Why? Final round of the pit. We have the meter in one corner. And the longtime resident, who we just haven't seen in a while, he's been on a little bit of a hiatus, coming back for his throne. Fresh 03. We got a hell of a lineup coming here. I'm telling you, if you guys are missing this or watching this live, you're better off. But man, come back and find the goddamn replay on YouTube. It's gonna be worth your while. Now, to start with here, so this way we can make this fair, I'm gonna do a coin flip here. Now, being as Meter's the host of the show normally, Fresh, you're gonna call the coin flip.
You gotta go heads.
Flip a coin. It is tails
Oh,
this time. So, Meter, you have the option to defer or go first. It is the start of football season, of course, so you have that option.
Well, I tell you, Mean Teach, if you start at the beginning, you gotta let that fresh 03 go first, because much like that sweet cream, I need a little time to rise to the top.
Oh, never had a problem with rising before. All right. So, to start with here, we are going to start with our normal set of questions. We've got 4 pretty random standard questions. And we're going to start in a little bit different order because, you know, I think for the final Grand Prix, we need to throw everybody off. So we're going to start with this. We're going to start right at the almost tip top of the card. We're going to go to the co-main event of the evening.
yeah.
Question 3. Who do you think takes the co-main event of the evening and why?
I always goodness. So I'm gonna have to give it to I'm just gonna go Jin Liang over Tony Ferguson. I've just seen Tony Ferguson take too many shots to the dome over the years. He's one of those guys I love to watch fight because the man will just do whatever the fuck he wants and then just keep going and going and going. But we've seen some cracks over the recent past. And he hasn't looked like the same guy who everybody was just scrambling to get into title fights a couple of years ago, even though they could never make it happen. He doesn't look like the same guy anymore. So that's the only reason, just because I don't have the faith in Tony Ferguson like I used to. I still think he's an amazing fighter, not the greatest human being on the planet. I still think he's an amazing fighter, and there's always the Tony Ferguson's chance every night, but I just don't see a set of circumstances where he takes down Jin Liang. That's about all that. It's just my lack of faith in Tony Ferguson.
Hey, I can get on board with that. That makes 100% sense to me. Right there with you on that. Oh, that brings it back over to the meter. Who do you think is going to take the co-main event of the evening and the Leech versus El Kukui?
Let me tell you, Mean Tej, the meter's a little conflicted on this one because the heart tells me the Leech has got the power that everyone underestimates. But the brain of the meter tells me that, much like myself, counted out though he may be, Tony Ferguson, like the proverbial cream, will find a way to rise to the top. Imanari roll to banana split cap slicer for the first round submission.
That is a hell of a call, my friend. That is a hell of a call.
That's a bold prediction there, Cotton.
I like the bold prediction. Let's see how that works out for him. Man.
I'm standing behind.
He's almost got me converted. Like
I'm rooting for Tony myself, so I appreciate that prediction. That was good shit. I know I'm not getting a judge, but I approve of this message.
I
mean, I'd take a free shot to the face to see that finish.
If you're just gonna give the point up to him like that, I'm gonna give it to Meter because that is a fucking bold ass.
That's like I said, that's some bold words right there.
First round goes to the Meter. Maybe that fucking deferring might have been the fucking key here.
Like I'm trying to logic my way through shit like usual, and he's just throwing out impassioned promos, and I'm like,
it's hard to compete with an impassioned promo, man.
Right?
Time to
all right, Macho Meter.
All right. So now, like I said, I'm fucking the questions all up tonight. We're not going to the main event next.
Oh, that's got to be the last, right?
Oh, no, not necessarily, but it might be.
Okay.
Next one. Of all of the fights that are on the card, what fight are you sick of hearing about the most? Which one is the most overhyped? Which one will those pieces of shit stop trying to force fuck us down our throats and ears with, that we just are done hearing about? Which fight do you think that is? Meter, ball's in your court right now. What are you going to do, Macho Meter?
So mean deeds, I've got to say, much as it might ordinarily be my cup of tea, as it were, I have to defer this time and say that I'm done with the ladies for this evening. I'm tired of Macy fucking Chazon getting crammed down my throat like she's anything more than a dollar store blonde white Amanda Nunes. We've already fucking got one at home. We don't need another one. And as for Irene Aldana, learn to pronounce your goddamn name right, lady. You're here fighting in the US of A, and here we say that Irene. Come on, Irene. We're done with this match. Nobody needs to watch it.
I like where that's headed. I can get down with that. That has been a bit bloated this week. Oh, Fresh. What's your overhype fight of the fucking
Overhyped fight of the night should not be on the main card. Has absolutely no business being on the main card. And that would be Johnny Walker versus Kudalaba. I have no desire whatsoever to see Johnny Walker fight anymore. He's mildly entertaining in the octagon. But at this point, what's this dude doing on a main card? I just don't understand. Before I took my break, we were having this exact same fucking conversation. Like, what is this dude doing on the main fucking card? Why do I have to hear about this dude? Why is anybody fucking paying attention to him? Shouldn't we be out preparing for the zombie apocalypse? Because now we know exactly how it's going to happen with CBD. I guess I can thank him for that. That's about all I can thank Johnny Walker for in probably the last 3 or 4 years.
You know, you made that really easy for me because you found one good reason to thank Johnny Walker. And I don't know that anybody else could have found a good reason to thank him. So for that, you automatically get a fucking point. Now, like I said, we're still fucking this all up. So what we're going to do, what was going to be my 5th round question is now going to be my 3rd round question. Not related to this card. Fresh, this is going to be your question first. What fight in UFC history would you choose to use to get someone who is not into MMA into MMA?
Ooh. Well, shit.
I'll give you a second because I know this was told you I'm fucking shit all up. Throwing curveballs tonight.
Yeah, that's. Oh shit!
You got time on this one.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I have one in mind, and if somebody
I've got it in my brain. I need to make sure I'm talking about the right one because there was a couple.
Yeah, I got a couple honorable mentions if you guys don't. There's a lot of good classics you could fucking bring somebody into for the first time.
Christian, don't let either one of them hear your thought on what it is.
Oh no! I'm trying to keep it. That's all I'm giving.
Already locked in.
There we go. Paul Felder versus Edson Barboza from UFC on Fox 16. Felder lost that one by unanimous decision. It could have gone either fucking way. The entire fight. Those two proceeded to beat the absolute dog shit out of each other. They put on a technical striking clinic. There was wrestling. There was holds switching back and forth. Dudes, they were just reversing the shit out of each other. Neither man could get a leg up on that one. I know I thought at the time that Paul Felder won that fight. I still in my heart think he won that fight. But that was one of the most magnificent fights, and it was on a fucking throwaway. Paul Felder came into that fight on, what was it? I've looked it up.
9 days notice.
Yeah, he replaced him. Well, he replaced him with like a week, and he was out training for like a triathlon or some shit. Like he was not in fight shape. He came in, and the two of them just went back and forth. And this was on when everybody thought Barboza was on the way up, and they were just throwing Felder into this fight. Felder went skyrocketing after this. But if you want to show people what mixed martial arts is all about, that's the fight that has stuck with me for, what is it, 7 years now? It's been 7 years since that fight. That's the fight that has stuck with me, just thinking about how much respect they showed for each other after the fight. They took a picture of each other in the hospital, both of them in wheelchairs, talking about racing the wheelchairs down the hallway afterwards. It was just a magnificent fight, though. Like anybody who's seen that fight knows the clinic that those two put on. And it was two guys at the top of their game, going back and forth, doing everything right, and showing what mixed martial arts could be and can be. And that's the type of fight I would show somebody. I mean, it's fun to show someone, those the flying knees, knockout in 13 seconds or some shit. That's fun. You'll see that on YouTube all day. But if you want to show people what mixed martial arts can be, show them a fight like that. Show them a fight where the dudes respect the shit out of each other. They know each other really well, and they just go in and put on a clinic for it was just an amazing fight. Like I said, that's the one 7 years later that fight has stuck with me, just because I thought it was that good.
Hell yes, that is a fantastic fight. That is definitely one that I would think of using to get somebody into MMA and show them what it can be and why it's worth watching. Now, let's take this over to Mr. I already know my answer. The macho meter in the house. What do you got for me? What fight would you choose in UFC history to get somebody who's not into MMA into MMA?
Let me tell you, Mean Tej, there's only one fight that comes to mind when I think, what does MMA look like? And that, my brother, is Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald 2. Despite the lip being split a finger's width apart, the spray of blood for the crowd to appreciate the savagery taking place, the sportsmanship shown at the end, despite all the rivalry, is why we watch this glorious sport. Because much like myself, Robbie Lawler, the Intercontinental Champion, was constantly counted out. But much like myself, Robbie Lawler was able to rise like the cream to the top.
I love that answer as well, because that is another fantastic fucking barn burner and great show of sportsmanship. Now, with that being said, both of you guys missed my fucking pick. And that it would have been Stephan Bonnar and Forrest Griffin.
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, that was the number one.
You can call it low-hanging fruit all you want. That is the epitome of fucking how we started getting new fighters into the UFC.
That was a brilliant
Not to mention a hell of a barn burner. There is a reason why both of those boys both got a contract at the end of that. Now, we can say low-hanging fruit all we want, and I would say there's a bunch of other low-hanging ones as well, but there is a reason why that one goes down in the history books. As do both of your guys' fights as well, but just saying, we take low-hanging fruit here sometimes. That is one of those rare occasions. Just saying. We don't get to talk about much coming off of that fucking show anymore that's worthwhile, because lately they've been some fucking duds, but it's there. Either way, the other one that was an honorable mention for me was the Chris Lytle and fucking was it Chris Lytle and fucking what's his goddamn name fight from it was way back. When the fuck was that? It was 2000. 2013, I think, 2014. What fucking fight was that? It was Josh Koscheck. 80. It was UFC 86. So it was actually farther back than that. Excuse me. We're talking a really old fucking fight. That was a hell of a barn burner of a fight. So tells you how long I've been watching these fucking fights for. But yeah. Anyhow, going back to this though. The rising of the cream has gotten me once again. You're getting a point for the fucking managing to pull Rising of the Cream into this again. However, not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of that fucking Edson Barboza and fucking Paul Felder fight. Not to mention to know that they got to run it back again later in their careers, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And still had the wherewithal to give the best fucking sportsmanship to each of themselves. So, that brings us into round fucking 4, boys. Round 4. Of all of the fights that are on the card right now, if you could pick one fight that should be on the main card and should be talked about more, or it may be on the main card already, that's not getting the respect it deserves, what fight is it that you think is not getting the respect it deserves at this very fucking moment? Macho Meter, you in second, so you get to go first this time.
Well, Mean Deej, I tell you, despite MMA having some of the greatest journalists in all of combat sports, there's one matchup, brother, and I tell you, they're just not giving it the credit it deserves. There's a gentleman on this card by the name of Jailton Almeida, and much like myself, every time he has been called upon, he has found a way to rise like the proverbial cream to the top and be the contender they need him to be. And I think once again, this glorious weekend, poor Anton Turkal is going to learn the hard way. When the cream is rising, brother, get out of the way.
You know, I like that fight. That's a good little sleeper pick there. Definitely being a catchweight bout. Definitely a fucking sleeper pick there. All right. That brings it over the other side of the room. Of all the fights on the card right now, which one of those fights do you think has not gotten its fair shake? Which one do you think should have gotten more airtime? Should have been talked about more prior to this weekend coming up? Rush, what's your thoughts on this?
So I had to scramble to look at the card real quick because the Macho Meter is talking about the exact same fight. That is the exact fight. Yeah, it's just I think it's going to be a better fight than I think it's going to be a really fun fight. You got an undefeated guy in Turkalaj coming in, and I'm sitting here scrolling through the card, and that still stands out as the because Almeida's been on such a roll, and he just keeps stepping up and showing different parts of his game. It's one of those fights that you get really excited about if you pay attention to what's going on. And I really I can't think of any other fight on the card that deserves a lot more attention than it should be getting. That fight should definitely be getting a lot more attention. So I agree with 100% with Meter. I cannot disagree with his assessment.
I can't disagree with either one of your assessments on this. However, the one thing I can disagree with is going to the well one too many times. It's kind of like watching people do spinning back fists or spinning heel kicks, things like that. The cream has risen to the top one too many times in a row. Therefore, the point goes to Fresh 03.
What? It's his signature move, TJ. It's like the rock bottom. The cream has to rise.
I do agree with both of you guys. I'm excited to see that fight as well. I don't necessarily think that Turkal should be getting the opportunity because he didn't win on the Contender Series like week 1 at the start of this season. But they needed that late minute fill in, and yeah, he is undefeated and got some good ability, I guess. So it'll be a nice if Halton Almeida gets another finish, that's what 17 wins in his career and 17 finishes. So that'll be an impressive fucking feat.
Yeah. Not to mention, I will say, albeit be low-hanging fruit, Chris Barnett and Jay Collier has not gotten enough attention this week either. Because look, they're for some odd reason, the only time they want to show Chris Barnett is when they use a highlight reel of him catching that spinning heel kick, and he's more than just that spinning heel kick. They need to show more of his front flips after he wins, because those are way more impressive. But either way, still one that is honorable mention there. Low-hanging fruit, although it may be. That is one of those ones that definitely needed a little more, in my own opinion. So, that brings us down to the last fucking goddamn one of the night. Pretty sure everybody knows what fucking question we're going to here. And I thought this was more fitting to finish the show on what another better fucking way than the main event of the fucking evening, with our main event of the fucking evening right here being Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz. Special 3. The floor is going to be yours on this one. Who do you think takes this fight and why?
And why? I can answer this really simply. I just want to smash, bro. That's the dude. Khamzat Chimaev is like a fucking Ferrari with like a 16 valve fucking Hemi engine in it. That dude is just, he's nonstop. He wants to fight. He wants to kill people. He picked a really good fucking dude. And I'm actually happy to see Nate Diaz go out on a fight like this. I don't think Nate Diaz can win this. I think, well, that's not true. I do think Nate Diaz can win this. I think he can fucking catch somebody. I think it's incredibly fucking unlikely that he catches somebody like Khamzat Chimaev. I'm interested to see what sort of a strategy Khamzat Chimaev goes out with. Is he going to try and just take him to the ground and just fucking ride him? Or is he going to stand up and bang with him for a bit? Is he going to try and bloody him up? Is he going to try and put on a fucking show? Or is he just going to try and end this as quick as he can? I think it's all going to be dictated by Khamzat Chimaev's will in this fight. I think he's that good of a fighter. I think he is so young. Nobody has been able to tell him no up to this point, and that goes a long fucking way in mixed martial arts. If you haven't been told no yet, if no one's knocked you out, if no one's tapped you out, that goes a long fucking way. We saw that with fucking good old Sugar Shane. He rode that shit fucking ever. Nobody was able to tell him no for a while. Now he got told no. Thank goodness. But it's one of those situations. I think you're looking at a guy that knows he's on his way out, wants to put on a good show, but he may be running into a brick fucking wall. And I think the brick fucking wall's name is Khamzat Chimaev.
I like the way you put that. And Khamzat Chimaev, the brick fucking wall. Maybe they need him at the border. Oh, that brings that back over to the other side of the room here. I would say our hostess with the mostest, but that motherfucker's nowhere to be found here right now. So, with this final match of the fucking weekend here being Khamzat Chimaev and Nate Diaz, the main event on this UFC card paid per view, who do you think takes it and why? What are your thoughts on this?
Fresh 03. You're taking all the answers I work for, motherfucker. So I tell you, mean deeds, I've got an answer in mind here for you, and it's not going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be, because unlike everybody else, I see through the facade. I can see the matrix code trickling down before me. I can see through the shenaniganry of the fake steak and the two black cats lights to distract you from what's really going on behind the curtains. Much like myself and my ability, Kamzat Chimaev will find a way to rain down the cream that is overflowed this UFC matchup and find his way to sweet, sweet, creamy victory.
I like the reign of cream.
Man, no, I like you guys' answers here. Fucking lot. These are fantastic. This is probably I'll say it right now. This is one of our best episodes ever. Fucking bar none. I fucking love it. We need to do this more often. With that being said, there's a lot to take in there. So I will say I am on board with a full fucking Khamzat Chimaev fucking smackdown this weekend. I am a little disappointed in both of you, though. Neither one of you said that Nate will get in at least one fucking Stockton slap, because guaranteed he will at some point. Mm-hmm. We will see a Stockton slap, but nobody mentioned it. That was going to be the end all. If somebody mentioned that, that was the winner, but no chicken dinner here on that. So you made my life a little bit more fucking little bit.
To be fair, I was going to Stockholm slack the mic, but I figured I'd be nicer to the headphone users.
Now, with that being said, just purely on the facade that has been put on tonight, I have to give this to Meter because you stayed in character the whole fucking time, and that was fucking absolutely excellent.
Well, he's been sending me Macho Man Randy Savage gifts all week, so I should have known what was coming. And he even sent me a voice message practicing it.
Literally.
You know, when he sent those to me earlier this week, I knew it was coming. What I was waiting for was for you to show up and fucking like Hulk Hogan fucking hulked out when they were fighting.
Oh, I thought about trying to go like full Triple H and like shaving it down to like mutton chops and a mustache, and I was like, oh,
that would have been fucking excellent. I'm not gonna lie. No,
just that would run out of the room like mid show and just shave the beard off and just come back with the mutton chops and the stash.
No.
The best part was trying to explain to my wife why I needed a box full of fucking creamers when I would use this creamer in my coffee. She's like, "You're gonna what?" And I'm like, "Just hear me out. Just buy me the box of creamer. It'll be glorious."
So now you got to put creamer in your coffee to actually use it.
Now I gotta fucking
listen, honey. You just go to the diner, order 1 cup of coffee, and you make off with the entire dish.
And go.
99 cents in your purse. We're out.
Right.
We go and sit, drink 2 cups of coffee, and then we leave.
Good shit.
It's fantastic. No, so as far as the pit goes, I am happy to host again. Although it will not be in that fucking order again. It was just this week because I had to make sure that there was a little bit of fuckery afoot in my first time in here. Because, you know, why the fuck not?
So fucking headache over here.
Absolutely excellent.
Goddamn thought.
It's gonna be it's shaping up to be a pretty fucking good card. So,
oh yeah, 279.
I think there's a lot of underrated fights on here.
Not only is 279 shaping up to be a damn good card. With that being said, that will wrap up round 1 of the Pit Grand Prix. So be sure to stay tuned next Thursday for our first semi-final match of the Season 7 Grand Prix of the Pit. Matchups will be announced next week. Much like one other bald asshole, I don't make matches on fight nights. That being said, that is all we've got for this particular episode of the I'm No Joe podcast. I would like to first and foremost thank every one of you, whether you are here watching this live, whether you're catching this on a replay, whether you're using this for background noise while you do the dishes. I don't give a fuck. I appreciate you either way. First and foremost, thank you. That being said, every Thursday night there is an event to talk about. You will find us here on the I'm No Joe podcast network on youtube.com/I'm No Joe. A week after that, if you miss it, in all audio format, anchor.fm/I'm No Joe. You can pick it up in your podcast consumption platform of choice. If you like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, make sure you are subscribed and you've got your notifications turned on, whatever platform you're picking this up on. That being said, if you want to help what we do around here, the best way to do that, patreon.com/I'm No Joe. For as little as $1 a month, you can get your name as a thank you at the end of every broadcast on this channel, and it gives you access to unaired and literally arable content, things that we just cannot put out to the public. Now I say this a lot, but it bears repeating. To my knowledge, there's only ever been one podcast kicked off of OnlyFans, and you're currently tuned into it. That being said, luckily for us, Patreon don't give a flying fuck, and all that content that was literally too spicy for OnlyFans, we brought it over to Patreon. So for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to all the goodies and help us do what we do around here. On the other side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing watching a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give us a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, remember, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything, unless it's a special master saving you.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.